Alright, now I'm going to try something totally different, well, different than most others I've seen recently. Although it's both not quite very different from a political romance, I suppose. It didn't really have much romance anyway. Um, you know, it had more just shenanigans and looking for old dudes than either of those, actually, funnily enough. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to just um instead of politics, so it seems like it's going to be food apparently that is integrated along with romantic elements somehow. I'm not sure how this will turn out. Um, yeah, apparently a bit of comedy as well. As I said, I have no idea. Apparently, some sort of short series. I'm not sure why it's even a series, considering it's practically the length of a average film, average movie. So I'm not sure why it's in episodes. But anyway, yeah, it's called Delicious Love. Hopefully, it's not just some soppy cliche rom-com. But then again, who cares even if it is, right? It's watch absolutely everything. It doesn't matter really well what's watched. To me, what doesn't matter? It's not like, yeah, I don't normally watch this genre either. Not often anyway. I watch each genre, I mean, every so often, but I don't know. I'm trying to just get a bit away from horror for now, I think. I mean, too much can be too much. Not that, the last one I watched was too terrifying, but still need a break every once in a while. Otherwise, it really starts to affect oneself. And I'll probably go into some other genre as well after this. Likely not horror, just something else though. Even some sort of martial arts movie would do really. It's okay, right? They don't necessarily need complex films. I appreciate complex films, but sometimes, often, yeah, whatever. I mean, horror movies themselves can be either complex or not. So it's not like we're dealing with genres that are singularly either complex or not. All genres, I think, really can be both. So yeah, anyway, I'll just begin this one now and see if it's any interesting. If it's interesting at all, I find most things interesting to be fair, but we'll see anyway. Yeah, so the slapping of hands to take a picture is quite something, isn't it? Wonder how often that happens in real life, just to get an Instagram photo of something. Huh. Um, it's a bit difficult to transition into. You see, so far I've only ever watched. Well, I mean, in recent times. To be fair, I cannot think of anything else that I can't remember anything else. I probably did, but not recently. The only South Korean films I've watched recently were horror, and it's a bit difficult to transition from horror to something that is much less threatening. I mean, Cello in comparison had so much blood, and I doubt the only blood this can the only place the blood can come from here is if they cut their fingers or something while cooking, I guess. Um, Unless one of them somehow becomes a psychopath or something, it's unlikely in this type of movie, I suppose. Um, I cannot decide if the subtitles are done by someone who cannot write well, because at one point there was an incorrect grammatical thing, and often there's some missing sentences as well, which is annoying because I really have no idea about Korean at all. Like, yeah, I might know a bit of Japanese, but not Korean. I really am not used to it at all. Um, but then suddenly it says it uses the word glamping, and I happen to have never heard of it, having never done it. Apparently, the portmanteau for glamping is camping when you doesn't sound like it, but anyway, yeah, and so I don't know. I'm just is the subtitler knowledgeable or not? I cannot quite decide. I mean, why would they get basic grammatical? Hopefully, it's just the one word I've seen. Because man, I hate it when I once watched some Chinese animation and it had absolutely atrocious grammar. Like it totally ruins it. You try to enjoy it, but it ruins it. And yeah, similarly in that one, at one point they used what word was it? Something related to hypnagogia, and it's really strange. Like, how could they get basic grammar wrong and then somehow complex words correct? Or even, I mean, no complex words in the first place. And wow, am I conflicted about the food here? I mean, on one hand, it looks really delicious. Practically, well, most things are sort of like food porn. But on the other hand, and the clue is in the metaphor. Yeah. Um, especially one might not think of this before. I mean, ideally they use gloves, but they don't. And then even if they do anyway, gloves can still transmit any germs. So you see, of course I'm saying this living in a current pandemic, which is as far away from this is, and this was done 5 years ago or so. Obviously, the flu is still around every year, and there's other diseases around, but it's a very conflicting thing to see something so nice looking and then be partially revolted. Only partially, but really, it's rational to be revolted. Really, then again, I don't know how else they could do it. Because yeah, even if they use gloves, unless they use disposable ones and they or clean them every single time, they just need to be very. Even if hands are clean, they can just they can still miss some bits and pieces. And yeah, this is why I'm not ordering fast food. Really, it's risky right now. But with these restaurants, stuff funny really. It's like oh, here's a leaf and there's three little rice balls on it and a bit of green stuff, a bit of vegetables. If it can withstand if it can remain up there. Are they trying to create some sort of something that looks like like as if they look like some sort of creatures on a boat made of a leaf or something? Honestly, when it comes to these sort of weirdnesses, they look nice, but that's pretty much it. right? I mean, they are so light. I'm just, alright, I'm assuming they also taste nice, but there's so little of it. And even then, she only, on camera at least, ate a single one, as if there were many to start with. So, so she ate 1/3 of everything, yeah. And I'm not sure she even dipped it in that vinegar thing, if it is vinegar. What I can relate it to is, um, what was it again? It's Japanese though, not Korean, but it looks very similar. It's not sushi though, but it does look similar. It's vegetarian though. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, it has rice as well. It's very umami. I like it, but yeah, after a while you get used to it as well. I didn't realize it was 12 minutes long. Also, the music is lovely. Doesn't sound Korean though, it sounds more French. Suppose I'm not sure, maybe because I associate um, these sort of luxury sort of restaurants with French cuisine, I guess. I'm not sure. Well, it's not French food, but at one point they even said, or at least the subtitles translated it as Bon Appetit. But yeah, I like this music. I had no idea this was 12 minutes though. Apparently it's sponsored by Ministry of Agriculture and Microbial Institute for Fermentation Industry. Wow, that's yeah. Well, I like it so far. This 12-minute episode thing, whatever it is. I just don't know why I don't watch more of this stuff. It had a bit of, comedy is the first genre that's on this site, but doesn't quite have that as the predominant element. I still like it though. I mean, it's feels fresh, almost like eating the food in itself. It's not that funny or anything, just like a light breeze or something. Okay, I don't know what tteokbokki is, right? That's quite a mouthful, but spicy and jam goes together. Yeah, it's one of those things. I guess I've never tried them, but I could swear they don't. I mean, they're complete opposites. It's strange though that they needed to introduce. It felt like they needed some tension straight after this conversation about sweet and like, spicy. Well, I suppose it is in a way, like you know, yes, sweet and spicy. I don't know, never mind. It's annoying that um, subtitles are such poor quality. Not incredibly, but still poor quality mostly, and sort of ruining. Like at the end here, at the end of this second episode, I guess, but first episode on the site at least. Um, yeah, it made little sense. Whatever it said there. And even when it's not, I mean, yeah, even when it's not just poor quality. It's there's nothing at all. And so I need to just assume what they're saying. Kind of annoying. Whatever. Let's have an hour now. Continue. So he very rarely stop things. I'm not entirely sure what he was even saying there, probably because of subtitles, but yeah, I mean, he's saying something about mixed foods and hands that somehow the more they crush it or something, the more I really don't know. Obviously, making some sort of food. love analogy, but makes little sense really. Unless he was trying to imply that somehow he wants he wants to love many people, I suppose. I mean, what else does mixed food imply? I mean, it's probably a subtitle thing, but I didn't understand that either. So yeah, well, I don't know why subtitles translate really when they cannot really. If they cannot translate. Why translate it all? Kind of ruins it. I mean. The director's name isn't too familiar for me, but I keep reading it as Stan Lee, since that's more familiar. No, it's Sean Lee instead. Oh. Okay, it's actually more nonsensical than I thought. I mean, what the hell is a double eyelid? It's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. Like, is it like a second fold or something? And why on earth would make anyone womanize it makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know if they invented it for this thing or I don't know. I mean, I see some over the top sort of things in horror films as well, horror movies. I suppose every genre has over the top stuff as well. Like, obviously when it concerns romance, it can often be cheesy. That's where it can, where its pitfalls lie. And this is cheesy, I guess you could say. I still like the music. The music is relaxing, I guess. The food looks nice. The romance though, yeah. And with regards to mixtures, it's stranger again, but this is slightly more. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, tangerines and pepper. It is still strange, but I don't know. They're sort of both a bit spicy in their own way, but differently spicy, aren't they? Like tangerine is sort of like an orange, but like pepper isn't a fruit at all. Well, it's original vegetable, isn't it? Oh, anyway. But yeah, for all the food it has, it's just mixed with too much cliche romance, I guess you could say. I mean, okay, it's an interesting idea to create food in response to what one feels about a person, but I don't know. There was a lot of other nonsense as well besides that. Um, and I don't know, it just doesn't have as much comedy as I hoped it would. Certainly not as much as what a political romance had, for example. I liked that better. And the romance there was sort of hands off, which is sort of better for comedy, at least specifically. This is more. I'm not even sure you could call it romance. I mean, he's just going around with everyone. And yeah, of course, she just wanted to test the level of awkwardness. Yes, why not? Because in life, you always test how awkward things are by being awkward. Yes, why not? Yeah, or you test it by, I guess, being cliched with such matters. Yeah. Also, in my mind, Yuna is a summoner who battled sin, not some which director who, yeah, whatever. It's incredible though how much it just isn't translated here. I don't know why um, people don't seem to be complaining though. But um, yeah, it's annoying. I succeeded to machine translate the Chinese there when they were in that situation, but I'm not sure if it's just normal Korean they're speaking or some sort of formal version of it, but even machine translation just isn't working. It's really annoying. I really dislike when I cannot understand something. I don't know what else I can do unless somehow machine translation should theoretically already get it. So I don't know how. It's really annoying. So when one spends so much time just complaining about the subtitles. Ideally, that doesn't happen, obviously. But really, this just seems to me sort of like just gestures and faces being made. That's pretty much it. That's not what constitutes real any real sort of emotion, right? It's not like you know I just I'm like allergic to this sort of genre as such. Like it, Inuyasha, right? I mean, obviously it goes on for much longer, but the romance there. I mean, both of them really, both Kagome's and Kikyo's romances were quite strong because they had substance behind them. These just have faces and gestures. That's pretty much it. You know, I suppose it depends on how slowly they're built and what kind of potency there is behind them. There's very little behind this. Obviously, this thing just veered. For the first two episodes, make the audience think it's going to be. It's weird and strange. And yeah, what does one know, huh? That I suspected it was sort of flaky and such, as I said, and then I gotta admit the analogy with the sugary rose was interesting. Yeah, I guess yeah, you could say it wasn't too cliched, So in this sense, yeah, it wasn't too sugary. I mean, reality probably was very sugary, but it looked I don't know like golden syrup or something. At the beginning of the third episode, that guy who's complaining about not having dates is funny. To a limited extent, this doesn't have much comedy, but I guess yeah, he's probably the source of most of it. And the way he voiced it, though, not sure if he was directed to do that, but yeah, it made it even funnier because it seems like he's lamenting the fact by sort of singing it or something, not quite a full blown song or anything, just you know. Not sure if that's normally how Korean sounds though, or he's especially doing it because it does sound like he's trying to express sadness. So I'm supposing it's not normal Korean, but yeah. But seriously, this was one of the most superficial things I've ever seen. Really, very superficial. Doesn't make sense. I didn't even know who the third one was the finale from the first one makes very little sense. So, from what I can gather, they just practically went, well, here's a K-pop singer, let's make him into an actor. That's pretty much the line of thought, and beyond that, they didn't really think much beyond that. Yeah. I mean, the food looked nice, but there was barely much of it anyway, and same with the music. I mean, there was music, but it was wasted in my opinion. What's the point of this? And subtitles. Subtitles were the worst. I mean, sure, you cannot blame the subtitles for, you cannot blame the director or the actors for the subtitles, obviously. But seriously, why the hell would anyone subtitle something and just go, ah, nope, this sentence probably doesn't need to be subtitles. Let's skip that. Yeah, yeah, let's subtitle this one, but not this one after this one. No, no. I mean, what the hell is the point of that? Just don't subtitle at all. You know, when I find something isn't subtitled, then I don't watch it. At least I don't begin watching it thinking it is subtitled, and yet some of it isn't. What's the point? So on YouTube, which seems to be the most optimal option, and optimal being, in inverted commas, considering, uh, I thought that maybe I could machine translate from Chinese to English. So that's two languages machine translated, I think. Actually, apparently Chinese might have been. I think Chinese had more, so I'm assuming whoever translated it was Chinese, but clearly it had more. So because wherever the empty spaces in English were, the Chinese version had more there. So then I tried translating, machine translate from Chinese to English. But then, of course, machine translation isn't perfect at all. It only gives a general sense. Translating into another language is always, just general thing. Yeah, might be okay for a few sentences, but it's very annoying for a whole. I'd rather not have watched it at all. Then I don't know. Maybe next time I encounter something where then it depends. I mean, if I already spent 5 minutes and suddenly I notice miss one, you know, I just thought, maybe it's just that just happens to be the one that's just missed, and this is not going to be a pattern. Oh, sure enough, it was a pattern in this one. It's just so annoying. What's the point? What's the point? Like even at the end there, the photographer said these couples early in the morning. Why wouldn't they translate it? At least there could be a machine translation of that. I mean that. Well, it was just annoying to. I mean, some of it was ideally translated in English. I mean, whatever English they provided. But then, ideally, the spaces are machine translated then. So it's like a Rubik's cube, you ideally you keep switching between the two, but that's no way to watch anything, is it? So I don't know how much of this I didn't like because of the subtitles, but I think it was substantially either way. But seriously, I mean, even if Inuyasha had such terrible subtitles, I would have just not really liked it very much, and I would be too distracted by the empty spaces, by the long subtitles, but to focus on the story. It's the same thing as the I mean, it's not like it had much story. That this is the point. It didn't have it's feathery. It was pretty much. Yeah, it had nice music and nice food, but beyond that, really, I might as well just look at pictures of food and just someone cooking directly instead of. I just wish they invested more in subtitles. What's the point? But anyway, might as well just for people not, might as well people not translate anything at all. Don't want to translate. You could call it a pet peeve, but really, it's so essential. Obviously, with foreign language films, it's just really essential. But the fact that Chinese seemingly had more, because it's really well, the only language other than English on YouTube at least. On other sites, there was only English translation, and with all the empty spaces, I couldn't find anything where there weren't such spaces, and only a single translation, it seems. Let's just say I enjoyed a political romance way more, way more. And, it had much more comedy as well, and it didn't have much romance, but then neither did this. It's very superficial at best. So in a way, even with the tsundere sort of type character in a political romance, it was sort of more romantic in this. At least the romance developed. This on the other hand, I don't know what this was, and I kept going from one person to another. Honestly, I think it's better if these K-pop stars just stick to what they do best, I suppose. I don't know. Are their songs even translated? Well, because yeah, I don't know. Just it's a bit one of those, just looks and nothing else, not much else. I need something more, something plot wise, and obviously good translation. Yeah.